I got sober in 1983, and I had lost everything. I'd lost my job, and I wasn't practicing law, but I was putting together I was doing essentially janitorial work, and I was putting together a field station for an environmental group called Riverkeeper up on the Hudson Valley that somebody had left us in a will, and we were making it a headquarters. And I was trying to be diligent and responsible, show up on time, and do all these, character building stuff that I had not done when I was on drugs. And so they asked me at one point to go, at one point I had to go, when we finished building the house, I had to furnish it, and in order to save my employer money, I found a furniture warehouse down in New Jersey. I borrowed a big pickup truck from a friend of mine to save the money, and I went down there and I put all of the furniture we needed. I had a list, I got everything we needed. And I put it like puzzle pieces, really perfectly fitted neatly into the back of that pickup truck. So that it was so tightly packed that there was no way that it could blow out. But I didn't tie it in. And I was driving up the New Jersey Parkway, and I hit a bump, and I looked in the bed of the truck, and it was empty. And all of that stuff was there was splinters and foam rubber all over the highway. And I got out, and I don't cry, but I was just soul crushed at that time. And normally the way that I would have, during my addict days, the way that I would handle that pain was to go and anesthetize myself to get high. But I didn't have that choice anymore, so I just had to live with that pain and experience it, and without acting on it. And it's been 40 years since that happened to me. And I've loaded a lot of pickup trucks ever since then. And I always tie the stuff down because I learned the lesson, And when you're an addict or an alcoholic, the only thing you learn to do is anesthetize the pain. You don't actually learn from it. And we learn larger lessons too, which is that if you sit with the pain, it ultimately passes. And that our lives are like, passing through these valleys of darkness and then up on the sunshine of the Spirit when we emerge again. And that, one of the reasons that what addicts do is if they're experiencing pain, they have to fix it. So we reach for something outside of ourselves to fix what's wrong inside of us, to fill that empty space inside of us. And that's the only lesson you learn. And one of the reasons adolescents commit suicide is because when they're experiencing these dark places, they don't have enough experience to know that they're going to emerge in the lightness. That, they just imagine that their whole life is this twilight zone this grim twilight zone, and they can't ever imagine coming out of it. So they take their own life at that time, because what's the point of living like that in that kind of misery? But as we grow older, we realize we always come out on that sunny side again. And what the Buddhists say, the trick is to learn to sit still with that and to be able to experience the pain ultimately with a level of indifference. There's a story about a Buddhist monk who was